tell yourself just to do it, but you can't move. You feel stuck, frozen, blocked, overwhelmed. Being stuck can feel like the ability to just not start, to feel overwhelmed by the smallest tasks, overthinking every single little detail, trying to be perfect, and then freezing and shutting down happens. And then all of the emotions follow it, the guilt, frustration, and shame. Why can't I just do this? Why can't I move? With ADHD specifically, executive dysfunction. So that part of your brain that gets the engines going, that gets you to have that ability to start a thing. It doesn't always turn on. Like putting that key in the ignition and the car just won't turn over. It won't start. You know what it needs to do. The car needs to start, but it's not doing the thing it needs to do. So what this isn't, it's not laziness. You're not a lazy person because this starter doesn't work properly. It's nervous system overwhelm. Your brain goes into a freeze. That stuck feeling happens. Too much or too little stimulation can create that shutdown. And know that this is not a failure. This is your nervous system reacting to how your brain is working. So things that don't help with your stuckness: forcing yourself, adding a bunch of pressure to get that thing done, negative self-talk. Why can't I do this? Why am I so lazy? And trying to be perfect in whatever thing that you're doing. All of this creates so much pressure that your body freezes and you just can't start. It's going to make that executive dysfunction even worse. What can we do to help this? These are some things that work for me. Please know every single person is so different. So I'm just throwing out some suggestions that could possibly help you, something that you might want to try in your own experience or in your own journey. Making it smaller. Creating some tinier steps with whatever thing that you're doing. So you have to write an essay. Open the document. That's a tiny step. Write a paragraph. Write 5 words. However much you need to shrink whatever thing you're doing, make it as small as possible to just do one thing. Remove a bit of that pressure of looking at that whole giant picture and shrink it down. And to help shift the state of where you're at, moving the body can be a very helpful tool to help really physically change where you're at and to shift into a new state. So getting up and stretching, moving the body, maybe doing a few squats or maybe doing a little bit of yoga to help shift that state that you're in. Because ultimately, if we just sit in whatever mode that we're in, it's not going to change unless we make some action to make it change. And starting physically with the body, instead of allowing whatever situation's happening, is a really great way to get out of your head and into your body to help shift you. So after you've shifted your state and you're reevaluating what you're doing, another thing to consider is lowering your expectations. That perfectionism point, right? Just begin. Just start. And going back to that very first thing that we were talking about, just start with one tiny step. One tiny step. And reminding yourself that whatever you're doing doesn't need to be perfect. I can just begin. I can open that document. I can start doing whatever thing. All tasks have left my mind. I don't know what there is to do right now. whatever task that you have, shrinking that down, reminding yourself not to be perfect, and just beginning. Helping even more to reduce that overwhelm. Again, following back to that first one, starting with that one tiny step. And simplify, simplify, simplify. If you're having issues starting the thing, how can you pare it down minimally? I find that for myself that this is so helpful. I know I keep really harping on this, but creating that tiny step of whatever it is just to begin and simplifying whatever situation it is. Also checking in with yourself and your self-talk that you're having. So that negative self-talk, like we were talking about, is super unhelpful for you to be able to do things. So reminding yourself, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not lazy. I can start small. I can begin. Finding something that works for you and your brain. So whatever nasty things that you're telling yourself, take that and reframe that into something that, okay, yes, I can do this. Shifting how you think about yourself and how your brain is working. Reminding yourself, you are not broken. This is common with ADHD, to get stuck, to feel overwhelmed. You are not broken. You are not a failure, and you are not lazy. Start tiny, and you will still progress, even those tiny steps. And maybe you might take steps backwards too. That's a step. Forward, backwards, taking a step. It's important. And acknowledging those steps and always reevaluating, reframing, seeing what works, shifting, and finding the support that works for you. What if being stuck isn't a flaw? What if it is a signal that something needs to be adjusted, that something needs to be supported, that something might need to be softened? You don't need to push harder. You need support that works with you and your brain. And to do that, you have to build that support around yourself. Try things out, test things out, see what works for you. And there's so many things that you can do to help yourself. Don't get hard on yourself if something doesn't work for you. If something works for me and Joe Schmo across the street, that might not work for you. It is not a failure if something doesn't work for you. It is just, again, a signal that something needs to be adjusted and needs to be supported in a different way. Allow yourself that grace to fail, to try new things, to try different support. All right, let's take a big inhale. Fill up the lungs, big inhale. Exhale. Let it go. One more big inhale. And exhale. I hope that this video helps you to reframe how you might think about your ADHD brain, even just a little, and to give you some ideas how to support yourself, soften that support, and be a little bit kinder and more gentle to yourself, because you deserve it. And you deserve the support that you need, but the only person that's really going to know what support you need is you. You got this. Bye. Thank you for being here with me today. If this resonated, you can support the channel by liking the video and subscribing for more content like this. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.